So the Baltimore Ravens just got some news that's firing up football fans all around the world right now, because the Baltimore Ravens will kick off the season in the NFL season opener against the Kansas City Chiefs for a 2024 NFL season opener and an AFC Championship rematch. Man, this is the type of game that you get excited for.
When he wasn't looking, he ran me over.
If you're a Baltimore fan, you know last year's ending left a bad taste in your mouth. Not only did the Baltimore Ravens have the best record in the National Football League, but they were one of the most dominant football teams in the last decade. Really, if you look at DVOA, point differential, the Ravens were an absolute powerhouse of a football team that just lost, that had a bad game, had some turnovers in the AFC Championship against the Kansas City Chiefs, who won back-to-back Super Bowl titles. And now the Ravens have a chance to go out and get that bad taste out of their mouths for a season opener to kick off their season. So in this video, we're going to kind of preview this game a little bit. We're going to talk about my initial thoughts on this game that I'm so excited for. September 5th, 2024 marked the date. Thursday night football to kick off the season, man. My first thoughts when I got this notification was, first of all, just excitement for football again. Secondly, is that this team, the Baltimore Ravens, has had an entire offseason to stew on that loss. They now have an entire rest of their offseason, when it comes to the mini camps, the training camp. Every single individual workout and everything they go through from now on is in anticipation for the Kansas City Chiefs rematch that ended their dreams. Like, quite literally, it might sound dramatic, but it ended their dreams of a Super Bowl title that, guys have been dreaming about their entire lives, everything they worked for. The Kansas City Chiefs, they took that away from them. They have a lot of fuel on that fire. Whenever I think about Roquan Smith and Lamar and some of the leaders on this team that are going to be ready to run through a wall, I get really excited. And the next thing I'm going to talk about that gets me really excited is this guy right here, Derrick Henry. This guy, I believe, will be featured early and often. And if he's not, man, he better be. What the Ravens did last year against the Chiefs is still mind-boggling. It still doesn't make sense when you think about it, but we're in a new season, so there's no point in dwelling on it. But you better learn from it, because last year, the Ravens' rushing attempts was absolutely putrid. Warren Sharp says it best here. This rematch of one of the most perplexing games he's seen, lost in the AFC Championship by 7 points, yet no Ravens running back had more than 3 rushing attempts. And Kansas City was 28th versus the run, struggling against the run, signing defensive tackles off of the street before this game to try to get big bodies in there. Yet, in the entire game, the Ravens had 3 early down running back runs, which was absolutely malpractice. One of those runs was a big run ripped off by Gus Edwards, and the Ravens said, nah, we don't like that. We want to win the game this way, and we're not going to keep running the football. So my hope is to see Derrick Henry with over 20 carries, Justice Hill with some carries, heck, throw some Rasheen Alley, just run the football. But I'm also really excited for what comes off of running the football with the play action with Mark Andrews. Man, Mark Andrews instantly came to my mind in this game because of his health. Last year in that AFC Championship, we know, he was recovering from a terrible, tibia, I think it was, ankle injury. Whenever he got his ankle rolled up on by Logan Wilson against the Bengals, Mark Andrews is a fiery guy. He's a dog. And he's going to be healthy. And I cannot wait to see him in a healthy debut in Week 1 against the Chiefs. I wouldn't be surprised if this guy goes for over 100 receiving yards in this game. Another guy who had a monster game, a lot of production against the Chiefs, a pass catcher, is second-year wide receiver Zay Flowers, who was a rookie against the Chiefs last year. He had the most production on offense. However, he had the terrible taunting call, and he had the fumble at the goal line after a beautiful catch over the middle of the field, running towards the end zone, tries to extend the football, and has the ball punched out by L'Jarius Sneed. That would have been the tying touchdown. Could have been a completely different game if he doesn't fumble there. Two things. First of all, Zay Flowers can produce against the Chiefs. We saw that. He can produce and get open against anyone with his change of direction skills, the speed. He's a talented receiver. But he's going into the second year, and he's got a little bit more experience, and I think he's going to have a monster year. Secondly, L'Jarius Sneed will not be on the Chiefs. He is now on the Tennessee Titans and will not be playing for the Chiefs. So that's a big loss to their secondary. There's some changes on both sides of the football here. The Ravens lost some players, the Chiefs lost some players, the Ravens added some players, and the Chiefs added some players. Specifically, the Chiefs, the biggest additions was in their receiver room. Xavier Worthy, and of course, Hollywood Brown. Hollywood Brown, the former Baltimore Raven, with some, a little revenge game here. Last time it didn't go too well for Hollywood whenever the Ravens played the Cardinals. The Ravens got the better of the Cardinals. And what I'm eager to see is if Hollywood gets back to that 1,000-yard type of status that he had with Baltimore, because it never happened for him in Arizona, despite being a pass-first, spread, vertical passing attack. It just never happened. I do think that he's going to produce with Patrick Mahomes, though, and Andy Reid. Andy Reid is an offensive mastermind. Patrick Mahomes is the best quarterback in the NFL and is making a case for one of the best in NFL history at this point with his accomplishments. So the Chiefs now have two vertical threats to deal with. Two guys that are in that 4.3 range. Scratch that, actually, Xavier Worthy broke the record, and the 4.2, whatever it was, ridiculous 40, and then Hollywood Brown in that 4.3 range, man. These two guys can fly. So you're going to have two guys that can threaten vertically, and then Travis Kelce working the middle of the field, which he does excellently. So the Chiefs' offense is going to be a problem to deal with, but fortunately for the Ravens, their offense is going to be a problem to deal with as well, because they have the two-time NFL MVP quarterback Lamar Jackson. They have Zay Flowers, Derrick Henry, Rashad Bateman, Mark Andrews, Isaiah Likely, and a defense that wants to run downhill and knock your head off, in the words of Roquan Smith. So the next thing I want to talk about with this game is the fact that Baltimore is 4-1 in season openers under the Lamar Jackson era. They're 12-4 under the John Harbaugh era. So they do a lot more winning than they do losing in the week one opener. In those games with Lamar in the season openers, they averaged 34.6 points per game. Some big time numbers, some big time fireworks and offensive production in week one openers under the Lamar Jackson era. On the other side, the Chiefs are 5-1 in the Mahomes era. LJ is 4-1. Mahomes is 5-1 in openers. In the Reid era, in the Andy Reid era, they're 9-2 in openers. Like I said, with Harbaugh, they're 12-4. And they averaged 34.8 points per game in openers with Patrick Mahomes to the Ravens' 34.6. So very similar in all these categories here, where both of these teams are very well prepared to play football in the season opener, and it's going to be a fun matchup, man. There's a lot of excitement around here. One big update that just came out, I saw it on ESPN Live. Rashee Rice is not expected to be a part of this season opener. Rashee Rice, he made some plays against the Ravens last year. I think he had about 80 receiving yards, some big, third down chain-moving catches. As a rookie last year, Rashee Rice was very talented and productive, but he's had some off-the-field issues, and there's concern within their organization, with the Chiefs, with the slew of incidents that's happened in the last weeks and months, plus what happened in college. The Chiefs are preparing for a long-term suspension from the NFL that'll come down. His availability in week one is all but done for, man. He's not going to play in week one, according to all the reports coming out from the investigations. But like we said, their top three weapons is going to be Xavier Worthy, the rookie receiver, Hollywood Brown, who they signed, and Travis Kelce as their top 3 pass catchers, with Isaiah Pacheco in the backfield. Of course, Patrick Mahomes slinging the quarterback under center. Zay Flowers, Bateman, Andrews, and Likely as the top pass catchers for Baltimore, with Derrick Henry in the backfield. There's a lot of talk about would have been the difference in an AFC Championship, right? Because the Ravens attempted to trade for Derrick Henry last year at the trade deadline. They had a trade in place before it was ultimately vetoed by the Titans ownership. And there's a lot of talk, well, if that would have happened, if we would have had Henry, would the Ravens been more inclined to run the football instead of with Gus Edwards and Justice Hill? Could the Ravens have beat the Chiefs? We know the Ravens could have beat the Chiefs without Derrick Henry, but would the Ravens have been more inclined to run the football and get the win? I don't know, but we're about to find out, right? We're about to find out how much of a difference Derrick Henry is going to make in this football game. Now, these are going to be 2 very different teams, but the main core pieces, Lamar, Mahomes, Harbaugh, Reed, Roquan Smith, Chris Jones, right? A lot of these core pieces are still in place. Travis Kelce, Mark Andrews. I'm fired up for this game, man. Let me know all of your thoughts in the comment section below. Make sure you smash the like button if you enjoyed today's content. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell so we can keep you up to date on all of your Baltimore Ravens news and content. We're going to be having all kinds of Ravens Reports episodes dropping throughout the offseason, all the way into the season, as well as some film studies, some guests, and much more, man. So thank you all for tuning in. I love you guys. I appreciate you guys, and we'll see you in the next video.